Hello, welcome to Sailplane Grand Prix, interviewing Jerzy Szemplinski, who is our overall leader right now, and again the winner of day 4. Very difficult day. I think that it was the lowest day probably at the start, in the lowest starting altitude.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And started out real strong. A few of us got some good climbs before the start, and we're all tooled up for it to improve, but it didn't, and I think that caught a few of us, myself included. Walk us through the start. I think that was probably the tightest start. The most people were sort of on the line and at altitude and with equal energy, and it was very close going into the first turn and into the first thermal.
The reason was because the cloud base was so low, and difference between start altitude and cloud base was very small, so we had to stay close to the start line.
Right.
Otherwise, if we were far away, then we will arrive 2000 AGL, which was too low. And there's the reason why so many people stayed very close to the start line. And it was fascinating because everybody started almost at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we didn't have any lift ahead of us, and no even future. So the first turn point, probably we turned once in nothing, and then we claimed the first turn point, and then we were already 2000 AGL going to the second turn point.
Right.
We had Ionia on the left-hand side, so we can bail out and go back home. And the first 2 or 3 clouds, they didn't work. So we stopped around 1,300 AGL, and then we climbed very weak lift. And then again, there were 2 clouds, one to the right, one to the left. And I believe Eric went to the left, and we went to the right. It was again low, and there was forest area ahead of us. And then I find out that in worst case, I can reach the first turn point, which was airport.
Greenville. Yep.
Greenville. So it was more comfortable. And then we climbed a little bit, and wind pushed us towards the turn points. Again, we were low.
Yep.
The maximum altitude on the course, I had maybe 2,500 AGL. That was in feet, right? So it was low. And then after Greenville, we had very bubble thermal around 1 to 2 knots.
And after Greenville, your pack sort of had assembled. The leaders were there. It was Jerzy, Eric, you, and Garrett.
Yes,
pretty much.
We were together, and Chris to Whiskey somehow charged ahead. Even he was low, and he paid the price landing out. But we were able to climb a little bit, and when we were climbing, the new wisps start forming before the next turn point.
Butternut.
Yes.
Yep.
It didn't give us much, but it gave us a little bit extension of L over D. So when we claimed the third turn point, again, was nothing ahead of us, but small wisp forming in front of us. And then we arrived roughly 1,200 feet above the ground and start again the game climbing slowly. And then when we climbed above 2,000, we moved a little bit closer to the steering point, and there was nice cloud which gave us again 2 knots.
Yeah.
And then Jerzy was a little bit higher than me, I would say 100 feet, and Eric as well. And I was wondering because we were almost at the altitude for the finish, and they didn't leave.
Mm.
So I used this opportunity when I climb, and I noticed that I have enough altitude to go for the finish, then I just left first. And as soon as you leave first and you have speed, they will be not able to catch you.
Right. What MC did you have, and how many feet over at that point?
I had Macready 3, and when I did the turn, I had 200 feet extra, but I left the cloud a little bit. Using the cloud, went a little to the right, so I got an extra 3 to 4 knots just going straight, and then suddenly my reserve built up to 500, and it was only 11 kilometers. So
yes,
I
there's
pushed
no
hard.
way they're going to catch you there.
Yes.
I think Jerzy had mentioned he had made a mistake in his programming. He had just a little bit of safety altitude,
Yeah.
and so and then Eric was feeling the residual effects of a few days ago when he tried to leave early and got caught and had to take a thermal. So
Yeah.
was sort of a nice lineup there for you to take advantage of it. But it doesn't take much.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
a razor thin edge.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Half of the turn and it makes difference of 2 places.
Yeah.
So this is really good race.
Yeah.
And we had great practice for the worlds flying assigned tasks
It's unbelievable.
because we forgot how to fly a assigned task
Right.
because we didn't fly much in the recent years.
Yeah.
But this is really eye-opener that there is different strategy, different, practicing this racing.
Well, I think you learn. You know, in the other tasks, you don't really learn how much you're losing or gaining when you make these little mistakes because it blends into the whole environment. Where this, everything is
Right away,
leading edge.
you see
know
the results.
what happened,
Yes.
and so it's a great training tool. And in Condor, when we fly Condor quite a bit, when I was learning, I learned a lot from that and the assigned tasks there. And this, obviously, I have a lot more to learn, but it's really fun, and I think it also exemplifies how good of a pilot you are. To be honest, I mean, you have a huge lead right now, and you've been on the podium every day, and you're getting an opportunity to really demonstrate the skill that you have. So
There's a little bit of luck as well. Sometimes, the stars are lining up, so we have to take into consideration luck as well.
the stars seem to line up for you a lot, Jerzy. Congratulations, great
Thank
job.
you.
Okay.